The truth was eventually revealed 2 minutes ago, and it's far darker than everyone had thought. A clergyman who was previously revered and trusted by thousands of people has just made a revelation that's sending internet-wide shockwaves. And what he disclosed that Sunday morning? Fans are now believers after the service, and even skeptics are trembling in terror, as this was not your typical sermon. This wasn't your typical outburst. The whole congregation froze for a second. Then something extraordinary took the flickering. Lights over the screaming, the erratic shaking, followed by silence, then a whisper, "No, Mike." It ought to have been picked up, but this is the irony. According to the pastor, it wasn't initially, and even worse, it won't be the last. What actually took place inside that why is the church being referred to as a spiritual ambush. This is the focal point of Christian rock. Anything far scarier than simply stay tuned for more celebrity drama, since the information you're going to hear will cause you to doubt all of your beliefs. The church was intended to be a location of recovery, but on Sunday it changed into a terrible scenario. Let's rewind, as this wasn't your typical church service. This was Christian rock's comeback to the public eye. To believe in a spectacular, widely reported look at a crowded sanctuary with cameras, influencers, and flashing lights, and a church that was scarcely able to breathe expectantly. She entered with her head held high, sporting a child in arms. Wearing a flowing white gown, the music halted in the aisles with security. The room fell silent. Some people were crying, while others were cheering, stood up. But to some, it appeared for some, it's like a spiritual rebirth. Appeared to be something completely different. Because the sermon had already begun. Witnesses reported unusual things happening. Stated that the light's temperature fell. One camera crew flashed and eventually dimmed. All audio equipment was turned off, even when the battery was fully charged, and then the harsh, rotting sulfur smelt. Unavoidable churchgoers noted an unexpected surge in the pews, feeling queasy, but Christian stood straight and didn't flinch. She even raised her hands while grinning and clapping, in adoration, until the pastor took over. And all of this altered the pastor disregarded history's dire warnings. His identity is being kept secret due to the church has prioritized safety for 22 years of esteem, trust, and recognition for his flaming lectures and strong spiritual discernment. But in private, his loved ones were aware of his gift, or, depending on who you ask, a curse. This was not his first sense. Over time, something strange has cautioned the church board about energy. When a celebrity is there, he asserts that he could sense things in the spirit realm that weren't human. He even stopped service in 2017. Midsman claimed that something alien had entered the room. Most people referred to it as paranoia. Some referred to it as prophecy, but last, he didn't just feel it on Sunday, he spoke it, staring him in the eyes. When Christian went to the altar, in accordance with several witnesses, when Christian stepped, everything changed. In the direction of the altar, she was expected to provide a brief testimony. Nothing more, but as soon as she took the microphone, the room changed lights, loud noises, and the infant in the rear pew began to scream. Uncontrollably, Christian then started talking. At first, languages sounded like spiritual manifestations prior to the language altering the guttural law to which an unidentifiable pastor reportedly froze and dropped his Bible. Then, abruptly, he stepped back and uttered 3 terrifying sentences. Faintly captured during the live stream, her gasps sound like someone fainting, don't they? Security hurried ahead but halted, half fearful, and Christian, she simply grinned at the social media response. Was a crave and immediately was taken from the live feed, analyzed, and slowed down the reposted frame. Within minutes, frame by frame, some people said they saw her eyes change color. Others cursed that she lowered her voice. One user tweeted, "Octaves mid-sentence. I'm not sure what I just saw, but it was a religious service, but it was also a possession." Another set of side-by-side footage shows Christian's previous speaking patterns and in the present. And the distinction is Reddit went crazy with threads. Headings such as, did Christian invite a preacher or anything into that church? What did he see? Backs? This wasn't a testimony. This served as an entryway, and the tale started to escalate out of control for the preacher. Disappeared, yes. He did leave the church, vanished from social networking platforms, and declined to communicate for 48 hours. But why? Due to the fact that he eventually admitted, you'll be out of breath for 40 to 8 hours. Following the renowned church service, though not at the pulpit, the pastor reappeared. Not in his congregation's presence, not on live broadcast. He now appeared on Approbate podcast that was unknown to the public prior to one that had just a few dozen subscribers to the Eyes to See channel, The Spirit World Secrets, and in an audio interview lasting 57 minutes that was ripped, reposted, and currently has more than 20 with millions of views. The pastor gave a confession so sinister and unsettling that it sent shockwaves throughout the internet. The pastor says that something happened to her after. The voice is unsteady. Although the words are intentional, there isn't mistaking his tone for the truth. I knew that child, but wasn't she? I've witnessed individuals being baptized in turmoil and deliverances during the fire. However, it peered through me. The host, ancient, clearly uneasy. He asks for specifics. What did he observe, and how did he feel? After hesitating, the priest states, when she took the microphone, I didn't see her. Something was clinging behind her, to her, and it didn't arrive when she talked. It originated in her lungs from the floorboards. The reason viewers froze was, he added, to make matters worse. I had a dream of a black shadow in the night before going into the sanctuary. I sat on the altar as though it had spent years there, observing and waiting. And it entered as Christian walked in. Suddenly, people began going back to that clip from a live feed, slowing it down and improving the sound. And then a leaked video appeared at the church. Never planned to make public the leaked audio that wasn't intended for an unidentified sound engineer identifying himself. A 14-second audio clip was uploaded by Spirit Mic 24. What we heard in her microphone is the file title. Feed that is initially unfiltered, it's merely static background sounds, followed by a deeper second voice in Christian's, not hers. Not human. Repeating a whisper, repeating the same phrase repeatedly. You extended an invitation to me. When TikTok exploded, people lost it. Investigators of the paranormal started to respond. According to a well-known spiritual influencer, it wasn't only a spiritual experience through tears. This was a summons gone wrong in battle. Let her do what she wants as opposed to when the cameras are rolling. Another, if she wants to bring her, I said. She had energy. Controversy comes with figures, with the church being the worst. Need care? Even if it comes from the wet betrayal. Was instantaneous devil himself. Churchgoers poured out and elders left. TikTokers began referring to it as the leadership was a spiritual sellout. Willing to let Christian do anything, followed her into the sanctuary. Was this a last-ditch effort to gain notoriety for influence or viral popularity? Or was it something darker? Because this is where the symbol on her chills me to the bone. RO1 fan shared a post following the chaos. Christian's high-res frozen frame zooming in on the entrance. They discovered something. Her gown had previously gone unnoticed. Hardly perceptible gold thread stitching an odd circular symbol that isn't across scripture, but an old symbol connected to experts in binding rituals, confided a former occult investigator. Asserted that the sign is well known and utilized to anchor them when invoking spirits. If she was aware that this wasn't a coincidentally, this was a ceremony. Does the Christian answer? Or do the people look to the internet for answers? Flooded her Instagram and other social media accounts. Comments became a battlefield, and then she shared a mysterious dark Instagram tale. Screen without a caption, simply a looping audio recording of a whisper. He saw too much. Fear gripped the fans. Was this the pastor she was referring to? A warning, a threat, or a confession? Or did someone use her account? Theoretically, she is still possessed. Was she being controlled by someone? Minister designated to die, but just as people attempted to comprehend the horror. Another unimaginable turn of events, pastor's last text message to a member of his family participants speaking to the Shade Gospel anonymously. The blog disclosed that shortly before the podcast launched, the pastor sent AON phrase to his spouse, "If I disappear, I'm not leaving," because suddenly he disappeared with no phone activity. Observations of his house's vacant, unlit lights disabling the alarm system. Is he hiding? Was he arrested for informing everything he saw in Christian's eyes was true? If it weren't her, the church hasn't just been alleged to have been visited. It's prepared since the following section worsens. As more video spills another, a clergyman addresses a famous visitor at Tear, admits to seeing the shadow. The pastor had also disappeared. The sanctuary was deserted, and Christian's strange rocks that he saw too many posts about reverberated throughout the online. However, at the moment when it appeared, another fire was putting out the firestorm. Sparked a fresh clip that emerged not from within the church but from a concealed backstage corridor captured with a mobile device and disclosed by a member of the choir. And what's in Christian's video footage passing out shortly after exiting? They attempted to bury the DVD in the altar. The 34-second clip shows a Christian as she stumbles along a hallway. Her robe is she's half-trapped and perspiring. Whispering encircles her, she faints so you can see her, and then she pauses and turns to the wall, starts talking to it. And, "I know what you desire, but you mentioned that the child would be safe." Goosebumps before her voice shifts once more. She drops to her, the echoes thicker and deeper. Knees, and utters the word obedient. The camera cuts out a few seconds later. When she spoke, the audience was appalled. What child was she, according to the entity? Making a symbolic sacrifice to protect her son, and why did she follow if she was under any obligation? Reaction videos on TikTok went viral. Believed that I was being attention-seeking. This is spiritual warfare, but it's incorrect. Look at her eyes in real life, man. She wasn't acting. She isn't in the video. And when ... that clip took over the internet. Another voice cut through the confusion. A famous witness enters the room with 4 Ws. The rapper, socialite, and young Miami influencer, renowned for her raw, fortunately. It was in the front row. Fans had noticed that church service. Her in screenshots of live streams. But I thought she left early. But I was mistaken. Remained the entire time and saw she spoke up on Instagram Live. And everyone watching was astounded by what she said. I'm not interested in any of that Holy Ghost bullshit. Come to encourage my girl. But pay attention when something chilly got to Christian's microphone. Went by me, I felt it even though I wasn't playing. It's like an icy wall. And she gazed through me as if she hadn't seen me. She paused, clearly shaken, but it didn't matter. Nobody mentions that it wasn't Christian. Her Instagram Live went viral on that altar. Videos that circulate on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok hash for hours. Young Miami has been trending, and she continued by saying, "I haven't been sleeping well since you all believe this to be PR. No, this is something different. Spiritual boom." A boundary had been established, and it wasn't just young Miami that spoke. Shadows at the rear, do or do not, an elderly woman named Sister ushers the church. Danielle posted something on Facebook, and I took a screenshot right away and erased it. Observed a person move behind the stage as the priest believed what he was preaching was security. But after asking around, nobody answered. Back there, she added, it had no contemplation, not in the exit's mirror. That's when I realized that day that the devil had entered. Hundreds more responses flooded in, with a majority stating the same thing that we also witnessed. After breaking the array, the second pastor casts the other church's silence didn't last. Longtime Atlanta pastor Jerome Willis Christian was once baptized in Georgia at the youth convention, which presented a heartbreaking Facebook Live warning. As a teenager, when I prayed for her, I believed it to be trauma, yet I was convulsed. What if we simply had the same spirit? Notice that he added at one congregation, "You don't keep something similar with you at all times. Life unless it is connected, and at this point, it's no longer concealing." He's flaunting himself. Ended his live broadcast with a terrifying caution. "If you witnessed what I did at the time, you would understand that this wasn't the start." Revealing the endangered child suddenly, focus turned to a Christian's terrifying possibility. Fans of the child in peril returned to her Instagram narrative. The voice that muttered, he noticed, was it warning someone about too much, about her son or the pastor? At Discernment, one spiritual influencer, Queen, shared a widely held belief that this is about bloodlines, not about celebrity. Something ancient is being hosted by her. Who are you and what would ensure the child's safety? Was it reached? Theorems became demonic. Occult vows were among the theories. Christian spiritual curses being unwittingly a part of a generational ceremony. Followed by the last terrible leak of the PGA, and that is missing an unidentified altar server shared a picture of a ripped page, was discovered close to the baptismal font. But it wasn't taken from a Bible. Written by hand, the offering is not. It stated, "Bring her back to the sanctuary in full." Cryptic. "Before the seventh moon" is horrifying. What does it mean to return her? The seventh moon's events are something awful has a deadline, and this is when everything turns around once more. ... Christian posted a ... 1 hour ago. Once more, this picture ... is her eyes appear lifeless in this close-up snapshot. Although her expression is neutral, in a mirror in the backdrop, and in that mirror, one fan's fuzzy shadow behind her was recognized right away from the viral caption. For a church video, it's not finished, but everything we believed was over. The queue is just getting started. Between fame and fear, and faith has destroyed what started out as an odd church moment has now become a worldwide spiritual crisis. With millions of people making millions more are questioning, is playing or possessing cryin' rock for everyone? And believe us, the internet has never been this easy. It's caused a rift on social media. YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter are all meltdown, and a complete division in the fandom on one side. Down the center hashtag, according to Chris N., she is the victim of churches taking advantage of spiritual attacks. Being deserted by everyone she relied on, she allowed the other number to accuse her of voluntarily taking part in something much darker and utilizing her position to share a TikTok that went viral with more than 19. Slow motion was featured in millions of views. Video of a Christian using languages with the statement, "This woman is not in worship. This woman is in slavery." Chaos broke out in the comments section at Truth. "If you can't see, you're blind." Watcher 47. What's not the Holy Ghost on her? She attended worship at Team Trison Real in order to heal. They spiritually ambushed her. When a user drops trauma, is it not a demon? A complete frame-by-frame thread of images displaying a shadowy black area close to her in the captioned "Live stream after you all made fun of her. She's now the one who bears the curse on our behalf." The division of celebrity replies in Hollywood nowadays? A list is ingrained in a spiritual conflict unlike any witnessed before the summer. Walker used a crystal, and a real-time light, on the other hand, kept it. Fans were taken aback when he revealed on his I've Been in Deliverance podcast that services have seen the actual thing that occurred with her, which was a ghost assuming complete command. The real bombshell, however, was Beyoncé's A Strange tweet was issued by a PR that had admirers speculating for hours. Despite the collapse of Angel when the pulpit shadows, welcome. What was that about? Both the church and Christians, and then his stillness was broken by Blueface Reacts. and his supporters go crazy after he drops a 12-second Instagram video that went viral right away. Hey, and he's holding their child, staring straight at the camera. Everyone you praying to keep her safe. Things surrounding her that are not near my son, boom. He is aware that the comment sections went crazy. Something was this how he verified that he just revealed more evil energy. Then he understands. People started requesting Christian give up complete custody to those who accused Blueface of gaslighting and taking advantage of the moment. But there was one certainty. The youngster was no longer merely a member of the background. He was emerging as the focal point of the church collapses due to the spiritual storm. From what I mean, it's the church where it all started is collapsing. To deacons have resigned apart from the senior choir. The filmmaker wrote, I cautioned them and disappeared from tithing on social media. In just 1 year, donations have fallen by 78%. 4 days, and a team of participants organized an excursion during the midweek prayer, chanting, You let it in by opening the gate. A widely shared drone footage caught scores of people refusing to pray outside the church. Re-entry and the scariest report footage from the altar area security camera broke down. However, the only frame retrieved displays a shadowy figure standing, alone 3 hours after the religious service. At 3:33 a.m. closed the sector's difficulties with RSP. There are differences among gospel networks. Some are saying that this is the end of the testimony. Incorrect. Others are requesting a mega preacher at the Emergency Spiritual Summit. Bishop K.L. Hartwell gained notoriety after we are seeing the emergence of contemporary spiritual conflict masquerading as pop culture. In the meanwhile, a number of churches throughout Atlanta, Houston, and Los Angeles are citing comparable unidentified disruptions are reoccurring. The analysis of the live stream allows that allegedly sink in when viewing the video. Sharing. The Spirit One New York priest even warned people not to review the video that is attached. It is in operation. Protests have broken down and fans go to war in person. Out with Christian supporters at the church here displaying symptoms that her pain isn't church possession, equates to exploitation while others are free and making demands. Christian goes through a thorough public delivery. Police have already been put in place. Temporary barriers surrounding the place of worship perimeter, and yet more individuals are demonstrating daily. Not to voice protests, but to observe while praying because something, whatever it is, it was abandoned. And now, people are curious to experience it for themselves. However, nobody is aware of something that even Christian herself might not understand. The last chapter hasn't been composed due to a new player preparing to enter. A silent person. Someone with proof has been present the entire time. And their tale will break everything. The story swirled for the entire week. Was she a victim of anything around Christian? Vessel, the church, was a mastermind to culpability or something more complex, however. Nobody was aware that one was ready for what fell 47 minutes ago and a dark, nameless file on a hard disk. The entry is the title of the Dropbox link. To a small spiritual forum, a file was released. It included a single 23-second video. Lengthy, and it completely alters the video. That ends the intraday night, which starts in a broad view of the church in silence. Sanctuary with no congregation 6 months prior. Christian wandering alone without any services. She kneels, lies, and approaches the altar barefoot. Both. Hands are flat on the pulpit. Murmurs, as promised, I welcome you. Then it cuts, they'll all see. The forum where it was posted was dark. The video crashed after 2 minutes, resurfaced on Twitter and Reddit, and Telegram users nearly instantly screaming fans passed out. Pastors became alarmed after seeing that clip. Wasn't merely an isolated incident. It was proof that the incident, the possession, the breakdown, and the consequences could have been planned well in advance of the incident.